U.S. companies offering a progressive 4-day work week. All right, what are the drawbacks of this supposed progressive 4-day work week, huh? It's the United States, so they're probably going to say, well, you're going to have to give us your left leg. A 4-day work week, 4 10-hour shifts. Oh, yeah. They'll never, ever allow you to work even slightly less. They're just gonna cram the extra hours together. If we had a 1-day work week, I mean, they would figure out how to add more hours to the day to force you to go for 40 hours straight. They would figure it out. They would, man. Saw this in Center City, Philadelphia today. Oh, good. Deny, defend, depose. Man, I hate this place. And advice for people who hate greedy CEOs. Okay, an advice. I'd like to take an advice. Do not panic. Organize. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy that companies' anti-union propaganda works. So the amount of people out there that now believe that unions will hurt them is insane. Not really much I can say about that. Organize. Okay, I left her a message. Okay. Happy Labor Day! HR will be closed on Monday, September 1st in observance for Labor Day. Our office will... Yeah, what about the rest of us? Wait, why does HR get to take Labor Day off, but the rest of you have to continue laboring? What? They tracked our bathroom breaks. Now nobody talks to management about anything. My company installed badge scanners at every door about 6 months ago. Said it was for security purposes, but we all knew what it was really for. Yeah, can you imagine having to scan your badge to go into the bathroom for security purposes? 2 weeks later, management starts having one-on-ones asking why certain people are away from their desks so frequently. None of your business, dorkbags. Turns out they were tracking our bathroom breaks, how long we took for lunch, everything. My coworker got pulled aside because she was spending too much time in the break room. She has IBS. That was a fun HR complaint. But here's where it backfired spectacularly. People stopped talking to management about anything. Before, if you saw a problem or had an idea, you'd just walk over and mention it. Now, nobody moves unless absolutely necessary. That means nobody's catching issues before they become expensive disasters. Last month, a machine broke down because nobody wanted to walk across the building to tell the supervisor about a weird noise. Cost the company $50K in repairs and lost production. When management asked why nobody said anything, the response was, didn't want it to look like I was away from my desk for too long. Now, they're doing mandatory collaboration sessions, trying to figure out why communication has completely died. We all just sit there in silence. Nobody's explaining that we're doing exactly what they wanted, staying at our desks and not moving around unnecessarily. The tracking is still active, communication is still dead, and it's honestly beautiful to watch. That's some monkey's paw right there. At least I think. Never really understood the concept. But yeah, this, by the way, is why companies hate at-home working. This is why. They want to control you like you're a little dog, and that's it. They want you to sit at your desk, and whether or not you're actually being productive, they want to own you like the little wage slave that you are. Hell and high water. Workers forced to stay at factory during Hurricane Helene, while CEO snuck out and survived scathing lawsuit. According to Johnny Peterson's family, management denied requests from employees to leave work as the hurricane came bearing down on the area. Oh, that CEO's gonna be dead soon, don't worry. He looks old, fat, and unhealthy, so I wouldn't really worry about him too much. Really bullshit that this happened. It sucks that people are so scared to lose their jobs that even when a deadly, life-threatening hurricane, those two mean the same thing, but still, even when a deadly hurricane is bearing down, you won't just leave because you're scared that it's gonna be really, really hard for you to find a replacement for that job because you know they're gonna fire you for leaving during a hurricane because to them, your work is more important than your life. Your labor is more important than your existence entirely to them. I can obviously tell you from my naive standpoint, I would walk the hell out. I have had employees in the past tell me, no, you can't do this despite the dangerous weather conditions, and I've said, you can go fuck yourself. I am going to be going. You know, but then again, I had backups. I had options. I had the ability. I don't know what it's like to not have the option or feel like you have the option. You do have the option. I just understand why someone would accept being told no. It's just a shame that that's the position like that put us in. If I was a parent, I wouldn't allow my child to work. Proposed changes to Florida child labor laws. It would be Florida. Eliminate working time restrictions. 14-year-olds can work overnight. Teens can work overnight on school days. End guaranteed meal breaks for ages 6 and 17. Wait a minute. Wait just a mother minute here for just 1 second. So, look, I'll be honest, as a kid, I didn't mind the idea of being able to work a little later so that I could earn more money. That's fine. However, teens being able to work overnight on a school day, that's incredibly stupid. That's really awesome. Can you imagine being a manager of a place where you're like, no, you have to work overnight, and then you get to go straight to school for 6 hours afterwards? Shut up. Like, you literally don't have any time to sleep at all at that point. And ending meal breaks for children? What, really? Did they also end guaranteed meal breaks for all the adults? Or is it just the little slave kids? What's going on here, huh? Also, yes, I am more mad now, because when it comes to how people are treated here in the United States, I'm gonna get mad about that, and if you don't like it, I don't really give a shit. When corporate marketing conflicts with the actual corporate culture, a JJ's Picnic with Benjamin would heal me right now. You guys fired me for rolling a blunt in the parking lot in 2017. I can understand why they would have, but what is this tweet? As a Canadian watching US work culture, I'm genuinely confused how you all haven't burned everything down. Well, like I mentioned before, it's because they have people unfortunately trained to think many things that they shouldn't have to. They own their employees, for the most part. They do. They really do. Seriously, every time I see posts from American workers, I feel like I'm reading dispatches from some alternate reality where basic human dignity got voted off the island. Let's talk sick days. You know what happens when I'm sick in Canada? I stay home. I don't lose pay for the first few days, and I definitely don't have to choose between recovering and paying rent. Meanwhile, y'all are showing up to work with 102-degree fevers because taking a day off means you can't buy groceries. That's not dedication, that's survival mode. And don't get me started on your right to work laws. We call that right to fire you for breathing wrong up here. In most provinces, if your employer wants to get rid of you without cause, they owe you notice or severance. You can't just get walked out because your manager had a bad morning. The fact that this is somehow controversial in America blows my mind. Then there's the student loan situation. I graduated university with about $15,000 in debt, which I paid off in 3 years working part-time retail. My American friends are telling me about $80,000+ debt loads that follow them for decades. No wonder you're all trapped in jobs you hate. You're basically indentured servants to Sally Mae. Your healthcare situation is dystopian. The number of GoFundMe campaigns I see for basic medical procedures is heartbreaking. We complain about wait times here, but at least a cancer diagnosis doesn't come with bankruptcy papers. You're literally choosing between insulin and rent. In 2025, in the richest country on earth. Well, I'm glad that you guys are seeing what we have to deal with and how nothing seems to be able to be changed right now. Certainly not right now. It will one day. It will get better, despite my anger whenever it comes to the United States and the conditions we have to exist in. Yeah, I'm gonna get really, really, really mad. But at the very least, I know in the future it is going to be better. Because it has to. Like, it actually has to. Or we're gonna start eating motherfuckers in the streets, okay? Like, the gig economy stuff is particularly brutal. You've got independent contractors working 60+ hours a week for Uber and DoorDash with zero benefits, zero job security, and vehicles falling apart from overuse. But hey, at least some tech bro got rich off their desperation, right? What really gets me is how you've been convinced this is normal. Anytime someone suggests maybe workers deserve basic dignity, half of the comments are about bootstraps and entitled millennials. You've been gaslit into thinking that wanting fair wages and humane treatment makes you lazy. From up here, it looks like you're living in a corporate feudalism nightmare, but with better marketing. I'm not saying Canada's perfect. We've got our own issues with housing costs and wage stagnation. But the baseline of worker protections you're missing isn't some socialist fantasy, it's basic civilization. How are you not rioting constantly? Genuinely asking. Stay strong down there. You deserve so much better than what you're getting. That is true. And the reason the rioting is not happening constantly is because the moment we do that is the moment certain people in power begin to invade more cities with our own military. I mean, he's doing it right now anyway, but they want it everywhere. They want riots everywhere so they can finally enact the final step in what we all know has been coming since 2016. If you still don't think Elon Musk is a piece of shit, remember this. Elon Musk's net worth is $425 billion. Elon Musk's net worth is $425 billion. With just $40 billion, less than 10% of his wealth, he could completely end world hunger by 2030. To put that into perspective, if Musk had 10 pennies, if he gave the world just 1 penny, he would solve world hunger. Doing so would cement his legacy as one of the most influential and admired figures in history. He'd likely be named Time Magazine's Person of the Century and celebrated in history books for transforming the world for the better. Millions of children children wouldn't go to bed starving, he would save countless lives. But he doesn't. Instead, he outsources jobs to cut American wages, lobbies for lower taxes on billionaires, and mocks the public on Twitter. He isn't a hero, he's a villain. He is genuinely evil. I do recall at one point a good while ago, was like the United Nations or a representative of theirs or something like that, was asked by him to prove that he could end world hunger for the price that they stated. And when they did provide that proof, he went, no, if you could prove it, I'll do it. You know, you just tell me how much it's going to cost and I'll do it. And then he didn't. In the same way that he put out a poll saying, hey, I will abide by the results of this poll. Do you think I should step down as CEO of Twitter? And then went, actually, no, I changed my mind. He is evil. Got fired and was told that I'm easily replaceable. So I fixed that. At my old company, a guy was fired for harassment. The week after that, I was fired for harassment. Someone put in a retaliatory complaint against me thinking I was the one that got the guy from the week before fired. I didn't. HR was very vague when they fired me and showed me no proof. Said they would just replace the two of us and move on. I handled our largest client, did all their projects. After I got fired, the client called me with some usual questions and I told them I was fired and didn't work there anymore. Heard through the grapevine my old company struggled to keep up on the workload, even though they hired one person. 2 weeks later, I get a call from the client. They want to hire me in-house and stop subcontracting the old company. I never sent them an application or interviewed with them. They just asked me to come in to discuss an offer. This client was my old company's highest paying, about $60K in billables a month, and since the client hired me, they lost that contract. Gladly took the offer, and now the old company doesn't have to worry about replacing me. Oh, this is insane! The hell you mean maybe? Let's see here. Anna just announced to her good friend and colleague, Laura, that she accepted a job offer from a competitor. Laura was sad about the news, but happy for her colleague. Laura feels it's not that big of a deal, though, because they both live close and attend their kids' sporting events. Is Laura correct that they can continue their personal friendship as they always have? Yes, companies have no business prying into the personal lives of employees. What people do in their own time is their own business. Maybe. Competition laws are strict, and although they can still be friends, they must be cautious of how they proceed with their relationship. That is incorrect. Nope. I'm leaving. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm going to work for that company. That's psychotic. That is also evil. Sent to me by a NASA-employed friend. Oh no, dude. Dear agency employees, we are taking steps to close all agency DEIA offices and end all DEAI-related contracts in accordance with President Trump's executive orders titled Ending Radical and Wasteful Government DEI Programs and Preferencing an Initial Recessions of Harmful Executive Orders and Actions. Okay. Wait, initial recessions of harmful executive orders like this one? These programs divided Americans by race, wasted taxpayer dollars, and resulted in shameful discrimination. We're aware of... Shut the up, you spineless cowards. I just nuked all my design assets after my old agency stole years of my work. About 5 years ago, I worked as a graphic designer for a boutique marketing agency. They paid me barely above minimum wage. I don't know why I said above, but I'm gonna keep rolling with it, despite charging clients premium rates for my work. I was fresh out of school, desperate for experience, and they knew it. I created hundreds of custom illustrations, logos, branding packages, and social media templates. I regularly worked 60-plus hour weeks with no overtime. My portfolio grew impressive, but my bank account didn't reflect it. The toxic workplace was next level. The creative director would criticize work in front of clients to make herself look more valuable. Account managers would promise impossible timelines without consulting me, then blame me when deadlines were missed. After a year, I gathered my courage and asked for a raise, showing them how much my designs had increased client retention and I'm just inventing words now, and brought in referral business. They agreed it was valuable, but said raises weren't in the budget. Oh, it is for them. The next week, the owner bought a Tesla. I quit 2 days later with no backup plan. It took months to find stable work, but I eventually landed at a company that respects my time and pays fairly. Yesterday, I discovered they were still using a portfolio site I had designed and maintained under my personal domain. They never paid for these rights. Even worse, they were passing off newer designers' work as mine to leverage my reputation with former clients. So, I took a screenshot as evidence and downloaded everything from my records and deleted the entire site. I also changed the passwords, revoked their access to the premium font libraries I'd purchased with my own money. They're gonna wake up to broken links, missing assets, and a lot of explaining to do to their clients. Round and find out. Oligarchs oppress workers. Let's see. Musk's wealth, $402 billion. Zuckerberg's wealth, $252 billion. Bezos' wealth, $249 billion. Workers, 60% live paycheck to paycheck. 85 million uninsured or underinsured. 800,000 homeless. And oligarchy fight for working families. Who dreams this crap up? Kevin O'Leary just slammed a new regulation that allows employees to ignore their bosses after hours. Says he'll fire workers who put their phones on silent. Good. When I am not in the building, I owe you nothing. You arrogant goblin douchebag. Absolutely nothing. Look, It's totally normal to be okay with being like, yeah, boss, I don't mind coming in. You just give me a call whenever you need. I don't mind. That's fine. There's never been anything wrong with that. I'm not the type of person that wants to do that. No, I am not available to come in. I am not. My days off are my days off. I do what I want. I do it when I want, and it's none of your business. I will be in when you have me scheduled, and that's the deal. But it's okay if you are significantly nicer than I am in that regard. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. However, this guy might actually be clinically insane. I'm glad he's getting up in years too, because when he passes, it's party time, brother. Collapsed on the bed and made this. Expectation, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of recreation. Reality, 8 hours of work, 1 hour overtime, 1 hour commute, 1 hour forced lunch small talk, 1 hour breakfast and dinner, 2 hour wash, clean, brush, shower, toilet, grocery, etc., 1 hour insomnia, 9 hours of sleep, still not feel good enough, or still feel not enough. That's, again, I'm just adding words. You get 9 hours of sleep though? No, when I was working full time, I got like 4, maybe 5, because I still wanted my freedom, so I would stay up late. HR reopened my vacation request to decline it while I was on vacation. I am gonna quit once I come back. That's, whoa, excuse me? That's not how that works at all. It looks like they were looking for a way to fire you and got desperate. They wanted to fire you for sure. Rich people get richer, but the wage is the same. Oh man, damn, he was only worth a measly $2 billion back in 2012? That's crazy, dude. It's crazy that $7.25 an hour, by the way, is so far behind. We've been talking about $15 an hour for so long that in order to realistically live a normal life, you need to be earning like $35, $40 an hour minimum. Time to start a new social trend. Hi. With all due respect, that salary is absolutely below market price for the job you're asking to do. Parat? I don't know. Clearly hires at higher salary rates for the same role in other locations that are lower costing than Portland, Oregon expenses. It really says a lot about what your company thinks of people, and it's not good. To put it more bluntly, this job is worth at least $60,000 to $85,000 market rate. I'm going to politely decline and hope your team can improve your standards because we have hardworking Americans trying to make a living here. Stop exploiting specialists. Target's so anti-union, they can't even call it a Labor Day sale. Long weekend sale. Dude, Target is probably the most pathetic and sad story I've ever seen in the world of corporate retail. They bent over so fast with the DEI crap, and I'm hoping that we can still get away from them. It's insane how a company, like way less successful than its competitors, was still as successful as it was, all because of the brand itself. Target was a cult. Going to Target was a thing. They were so popular. People would just spend time walking around to Target for fun. Their branding is flawless to such a degree that even Steve Jobs and Apple saw them as the opus you were going for. If Apple's advertising wasn't as good as Target's, you would get fired, man. Like, it's insane how hard they fumbled. They built it. It's like when Elon got rid of Twitter. You can't buy brand recognition that strong, and they're this pathetic and stupid. You know what? When Target inevitably disappears, no one's gonna give a signs in hospital where nurses are on strike. Strike is not the answer. Yes, it is. I'm ignoring all that. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Actually, yes, it is. Huckabee Sanders, who made it easier to employ 15-year-olds in her state at dangerous jobs, talks at a conference at EmKay, where black kids are forced to stand outside in the rain. This picture is genuinely amazing, and I hope that she sees it every now and then and it just sticks up in her mind while she tries to sleep at night. I know that these people have moments of cognizance for sure when it's the wee hours of the morning or the evening where they think about how, demonically coded they are. And I hope they realize that at the end of their long, long lives, everyone's gonna move on just about as fast as they moved on from another person relatively recently. Trump says he's for working people and no tax on tips. But in reality, one of his supporters just left this at the airport instead of an actual tip for the worker. Yeah, they lie. I mean, every politician ever has been a bold-faced, insane, next-level liar. Like gold Olympic medal liar. They all are. But this guy, man, he's like the Michael Phelps of politicians, that's for sure. He's just not good at it. Today I learned that Americans don't get paid vacations or get holidays. Goddamn. Well, sometimes you do. I've worked a couple of jobs where I can get paid vacations, but I get, it was 7 paid days off a year. When I worked for Comcast, I got 7 paid vacation days a year. And then 7 unpaid days that I would have to balance between sick leave and otherwise. And if I went over 7 unpaid days in that year, I would get fired. The United States is the only advanced economy in the world that does not guarantee its workers paid vacation days and paid holidays. The only thing I will say is that if I volunteered to work specific holidays at Comcast, and I use them specifically because they're the most normal job I've ever had, then I would get pay bumps. I worked Christmas, and I got paid double time for that, which, okay. I was alone, still am, but I was alone, and I didn't give a fuck about Christmas. I set out to destroy the woke mind virus, and now it has been deleted. Core tenet of conservatism is making up a problem, waiting a few months, and then declaring victory over it. Elon Musk wants to be seen as anything but a subhuman pile of shit so bad. It has now been deleted. I'm sorry, but if there is a woke mind virus out there, you haven't even found it. I'm convinced that people who advocate for 100% in-office work hate their home life. Ain't no way you want to spend more time with your colleagues than your family. I mean, it's definitely true.